I'm excited to get started. We have a great group coming back, so it's going to be. I'm curious to see what kind of shape they come back in. I have no reason to believe that they're not going to come back in shape, but you're always curious to see who worked hard over the summer and who maybe needs a little bit more work when they get here. So I'm excited to get going. We've put a lot of effort in over the summer to get ready, and we're just about ready to go in a couple days.
Richards, 13 seconds. Starkowski the cross. Tried to head it in, down, blocked by Zabo. Ageman couldn't get a foot on it. Back in play, hit around, blocked by Western. One last clear, and how about that finish? Western Connecticut with an unbelievable defensive stop. And in back-to-back years, in thrilling fashion, Western Connecticut's moving on.
I think it's going to make our guys work harder in the summer, and I think their preparation will be, not that it was bad last year, but it could have been better. And so I think having achieved what we achieved and seeing what we maybe could have accomplished, had we stayed healthy and fought some of the injuries off at the end, I think our guys will be more motivated to really come back in shape and really go for it this year. And the way the game ended, of course, with 3 or 4 shots in the last 10 or 15 seconds of the game and balls being cleared off the goal line, I think that just makes you that much. It's almost like you want next season to start the next day just so you can get right back at it. Because even though we lost it, it sort of was a positive note in a lot of ways, I think, because we fought, to come back from 2 goals down, to score late, and then have a chance to tie it right at the end. I thought was pretty characteristic of our team, like you said, with the older guys taking on pretty big leadership roles, and the younger guys really stepping up by the end of the season as well and feeling a lot more comfortable with the group. Yeah, like I said, you hope that's what happens, and so that's why I'm kind of curious to see where everyone will be at in a few days when when we test fitness. We do have some injuries that we have to get past, some guys that are coming off surgeries and little bumps and bruises and things like that. So that's the goal, is to make sure everybody's healthy on not necessarily the first game, but to kind of ease guys back that are coming back from injuries, make sure they don't try to come back too soon. But I think we have enough depth this year, bringing in a recruiting class of like 8 to 10 guys who can also add to all the returners that we have. The same message I give every year is the only thing holding most people back is themselves. And so if we want to put the work in, then we could be very good. And if we want to take shortcuts, then I say this every year, but only one team wins the championship at the end of the year. And so the more shortcuts you take along the way, the kind of less chance you give yourself of being that team at the end of the season. So the message, as always, is just don't take shortcuts. Make sure that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing to be successful. And if we do those things, the process in the long term, hopefully you come out where you want to be. I think for myself, to take a mental and physical break from soccer is always an important thing that I like to do to get ready, so that I am 100% bought in when the season starts as well. I think everybody needs that. The players need that, the coaches need that. So that's part of the preparation, believe it or not, is to take a break. And then the other side of that is to do the 150 different things that need to be done in order to be ready on day one, whether it's ordering equipment, whether it's going through what the sessions or training sessions are going to be, making sure all your assistant coaches are coming back, fundraising for overnight trips. So there's a multitude of things to get ready. We have a couple of new things that we're using this year, which are GPS monitors with the guys. So learning how to use the GPS monitors and testing those out once we got those delivered a few weeks back, and making sure that those worked and that I was familiar with the software. And we also have a wellness app called Soccer Pulse that we're going to use with the guys, which is going to allow them to communicate with us how they're feeling on a daily basis, physically, mentally, what their sleep is like, self-assess themselves after training sessions quickly, and also allow us to give them feedback after training every day. So a couple things like that we're excited about, but learning how to use the hardware and the software that goes along with that. So it's been a busy summer, but it's also been a restful one. You want everybody to be ready to go. You want everybody to be as healthy as they can. You don't want to do too much. I think the old school philosophy of having the 2 and 3 sessions a day are pointless, to a big extent. If the guys do come back healthy, then you don't have to worry about overtraining them and doing extra fitness and things like that. So if they come back and they've done the work over the summer, that's my first hope. And like I said, I just want us to be relatively healthy for the first game. But again, not push some of the guys that are coming back, like Justin Jensen's coming back off an injury. If he's not ready to go on day one, that's fine, because that's not when we need Justin to peak. We need him ready when the LEC season starts, a few weeks after that. So we'll kind of, gradually work him. Will Toomey's coming off a little injury. Jake Pendle's coming off an injury. Danny Shaler's coming off an injury. So we'll work those guys back in gradually. And the goal, I think, on day one is just to have 20-something healthy guys out of the 31 or 2 that we're going to carry that can play in our opener, and we'll go from there. I mean, I think you look at players that come in highly touted out of high school. Sometimes they come in and they're ready to go, and sometimes they're not. The 2 that you mentioned, Will and Patrick, were more or less prepared from day one physically. I still think there was always a huge adjustment. They both came in. They were believe it or not, 2 of the youngest guys on the team. Will's still 18, and so they're going to be sophomores in college, and they could almost be freshmen in college because of their age. So you don't realize that sometimes as a coach. But overall, the group came in relatively prepared last year, and the guys who came in, and you could see that they worked hard over the summer, made an impact, and then the guys who didn't prepare as hard over the summer, we were less impressed with. And we hope that after having that 1 year of learning that, hey, it's really important, and here's what these guys did. They came in fit, they were ready to roll, they took the opportunity, they got the minutes that they wanted, to get. And if you do this next year, this is where you could be. So we hope that, the younger guys will learn from the guys like Patrick and, Will Toomey that did get a lot of minutes last year. And then you see the dynamic of just guys that are brothers, like the Toomeys, and I don't really, I haven't seen Manny and Patrick together yet, but I'm guessing it's going to be a pretty cool dynamic to have around. I mean, there's always little things, and I think some of the things that I mentioned to you already, like bringing in a little more technology to show our guys. We have people that are working too hard and doing too much, and they never want to take a day off, and they need to see, and now with some data, running around with a GPS monitor, that hey, you've had 4 really hard days this week. You do need to do nothing on the day off, stretch, and that's it. And then you have guys at the other end of the spectrum that the technology hopefully is going to show them, hey, compare, me to someone that's playing my same position, maybe I could be working a little harder. And now what coach is saying is starting to make a little bit more sense, because the data is showing it to me, and I'm getting it right on my phone, and I can see, what I did today and how many sprints I attempted and how much ground I covered and what areas of the field I ran in, and so forth. So I think those are a couple of adjustments that we've made, but dramatically nothing different than what we typically do, which is just try to emphasize that it's a process, and it's not about where we are on August 16th or 17th or 18th. It's where are we when we start the LEC season, and where are we when the LEC playoffs start. Like I said, for me, the big thing is just making sure that guys are working back towards health. We always work on some team chemistry during preseason, but the biggest thing is to have as many of those 32 guys healthy as we possibly can, so that our training sessions can be really competitive, and that we can move guys around and try out different combinations. We have 3 scrimmages that are coming up, which will be all very competitive schools that we're playing against. Springfield College will be a very good scrimmage for us, MIT, and we're also going to scrimmage UConn's reserves at home at Nevers Field on the 24th, Saturday morning. So that'll be, be 3 good contests for us, and hopefully when we come out of that, like I said, most of our guys are healthy and ready to go. The guys coming back from injury are ready to go, and we can move forward.